Hi, I'm Ed, and today I'm going to be working on my Honda Pioneer 1000-5, specifically on my reverse lights, the reverse lights. So they're already installed, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a small switch up here to the front, and what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to turn them into a work light, or I can also enable or disable the auto reverse light function. So this kit comes from HondaSideBySide.com. So I'm going to be going through this and running the install and getting the switch all set up and everything. It's going to add some more functionality to these already installed reverse lights. Yeah. Okay, so here is the cabling harness to be able to turn the rear lights into that work light. Here is the switch. So we're going to be installing under the dash. So up is going to be to turn it on. This is kind of like a master override, and then leaving it in the middle position is going to be just off all the time, and then putting it back down puts it back into the auto backup. So whenever you put it into the vehicle into reverse, it will allow the lights to turn on. So if you have it in the down position, doesn't matter what time of the day, whatever, it's whenever you hit that reverse, those lights are going to come on. So there you go. So just taking a quick look at this. Here's obviously the point where we're going to be interfacing in. So this is where we hook up to the Honda connector, and then this is the point where it goes into the connector that goes towards the lights, and this is the back where it goes into the back of the switch. This is actually where a lot of the magic happens. Combine this with the switch. So I'm going to go ahead and show what is actually happening. Part of our diagram here. So when you're looking here, here's our lights. Here's our connector that's on the back frame here, and then here is our backup connector where the Honda provides. And normally what you're doing is you're just plugging it straight into here, and then that's how our reverse lights are turning on. When you plug this particular cable in, you're just kind of just interfacing into this, and so it's a 3-wire connection. It sends it back into the switch here, and so all it is you're just manipulating the ground connection. So your ground is just being turned to full time versus part time, and that part time is just sending it back through that Honda backup connector that's over by the oil filter port. Okay, so that's all. That's the true magic of what this particular cable harness does. The other thing is also notice this red line. So there's a stub wire that's within this cable harness. So we're no longer going to be getting the power from the Honda connector. We're going to be moving the power source back to our auxiliary fuse block. So it gives us a little bit more control over this. So in case there's a problem with one of these lights, we have a direct fuse that we can go ahead and associate that to for our rear lights. So a bit more of an extra safety precaution that I really like to be able to add for something like this. So this is perfect. So again, twofold. This is doing it's adding more control to this, and also moving the power source for more safety of a light system like this. So here's a look at our main instructions here. So basically, it's obviously track down the location of our plug, which considering we already installed the lights, we should already know where that is. Starting from underneath the hood and then routing the cables back. It describes exactly how to go ahead and do that, but I'm going to also show you this on the video, and I think it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt, but I'm still going to walk through it anyways and try and document that. And then obviously installing the switch and the connector, and then coming back and then addressing and tying down all the cables. So instructions look like they're pretty decent. Again, with the routing of the cables, yeah, that's going to be interesting. All right, so I have my wiring here ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and obviously I have this unfurled and ready. So I have the end that's where the switch is going to go. I'm going to go ahead and have this staged and set. I can go ahead and even pop the switch out and get that ready to go. And so that way I can go ahead and get that ready to thread out. So all I have to do is just take a small little screwdriver and just pop the one little piece out. I can bring that up and then connect it into the switch and install that as the first point, because the cabling is going to run from here all the way back. All right. So pretty easy. Just flathead screwdriver, pop that loose, There we go. So now I'm just going to feed the cables up and then connect this and then pop it in place. Helpful tip is to grab a light of some kind and go ahead and shine it from the back side of this, or try from the front side, so that way you can, when you look from the hood area, you can see where you're going to be routing the cables. All right, I'm just going to reach in here and kind of thread this through. Considering this is my only source of light is coming from that hole, that means it's a lot easier to be able to find and locate. So I can go ahead and just kind of get some slack in here, and then reach through, kind of push that up, and then there we go. Okay, so all right, so easy way to go ahead and get this hooked up. When you look at this, look at the connector. So you see the one side is flat. The other side has has this little guy on there. That arranges with the switch itself. So when you look here, one side, and then the other side. So notice how you have obviously your clip mechanisms, but this has a little tab on one side. So the tab is what matches up with that guy. Okay, so best way to do this is when you have the switch in your hand, grab it with both hands like this, and just kind of wiggle it back and forth, and then it gets nice and seated. And then make sure that the this right here is latched in place. So nice, good connection. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and thread this back in here, and then go ahead and there we go. So now I have my switch installed. Okay. All right. So the other part of the switch is obviously for the power for the lights. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the pre-stripped, pre-prepped ends off here, so I can go ahead and expose the rest of the copper wire, and then go ahead and install these on here, and then run these into my fuse block. All right, so the next part is rather fun, because here's my wire coming from the switch, and then here's the other side wire. This is what needs to go back to that connector where the light interface is in. So I have to route this. So following this bundle all the way back to back underneath where the gas tank is, and then route this back to that connector. So I'm going to go ahead and route this back behind here, just that way I kind of follow the path, least resistance here, that way it doesn't wrap around a bunch of other stuff. And then easiest way I figured to do this is to go ahead and start dropping it down in this general area, and then I can go ahead and reach from below. I can put a light on the top side, basically the same trick as the switch from the front. So I wouldn't take my light. Let's go ahead and drop it right about here, because this is where the cable runs. It just loops and goes straight down right here. Okay. So when you look, it comes down this way, and so if I routed it correctly, where am I? If I route it correctly, that little hole right there, that you can see the light shining down, the cable should end up in that little cavity right there. I should be able to grab it. Yep, I just reached around right there and was able to pull it out, and there it is. So I'll go ahead and start bringing this down, start taking the slack out. I don't want to take all of it out. I want to make sure I leave some of that slack up there, to make sure that I have some of that right here. And I'm going to start threading this down, because this is again where this main cable runs. So looks like goes back behind this back plate for the wheel well, and then it travels back underneath here. So the next part of this, I'm probably gonna have to pull off one of these plates down here in order to be able to help keep following the wire harness bundle. So I still have some of that slack left over, so I gotta make sure I'm not caught on anything. Go ahead and take some of that slack out. And so I have plenty of cable to route all the way back. All right, so looking underneath here, this is the that plate for the wheel well. So I ended up just kind of pulling this out of the way and bringing this down, and so you can feel that this is part of the frame right here. So what I'm gonna have to do is, because of the way the bundle travels within here, I'm gonna have to route part of the cable up and over this frame right in here, and then get it, because the cable travels along this way, okay, right in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the bolts off of this, drop this this particular plate down, and then can finish following, because there's the main wire bundle right there, up in this way. Where is it? Yeah, it's up inside there. See, so I want to follow it and keep that bundled together. By the way, this is 10 millimeter socket to be able to drop this this front skid plate. Okay, so got this off right here. So here's my cable. I still need to go ahead and route it over the part of the frame, but this is the bundle right here. This is the electrical harness. So this is our air intake that goes up towards the front. So you can see, if I keep following the harness up, this is where it goes up right here. But when you keep on looking backwards, so I'm looking towards the back, there is part of the engine and the transmission area and stuff like that. So that's actually where we're going anyways, because over in that general direction, that's where where we're going to find that connector for the reverse light buzzer. That's where we tapped in for the light. So this may have been more, and there may have been another way to be able to go ahead and just take the floorboard off and be able to go that way, but I had no idea what kind of a pain in the butt it was going to be able to make that happen. So I just decided just to go from the bottom instead of from the top. So all right, so routing this thing up and over the frame, what I did was I'm just kind of looking at the frame area right here. I was going to grab this, and there's this little hole area. I just kind of grabbed this and pushed it up at kind of a curved angle, routed it upwards, and then it just kind of popped out on the other side. So right next to the wire harness. So I can just go ahead and pull this, take the slack out, and honestly, that was probably one of the more challenging parts, which is just getting it routed right there and up and over this small section of the frame. All right, so now one of the more critical parts of this is when I'm following the electrical harness, it goes up and then it goes up and over before it comes back and goes in the direction we want it to go. But you can't just cross over, because this is part of the drive shaft mechanism for the four-wheel drive. So what you don't want is you don't want this being near this, because this is going to be spinning and moving and anything like that. So you don't want this getting caught for any reason and then just ripping your wires apart and shorting out and everything like that. So what you have to do is you have to route this up, and you either like wrap it around the main wire bundle, or zip tie it up, which is going to be a pain in the butt. So I'm just going to go ahead and route this up and wrap around the main wire bundle to kind of keep it up and out of the way of the main drive shaft. Okay, so once you have the cable routed pretty much where you need it to go, so this is looking underneath here. My apologies, I'll have to write this video. So there's the main wire bundle. So I have a new cable wrapped around the primary wire bundle here, and then what I'm going to do is just going to route this downwards, and then here's another wire bundle here I'm going to go ahead and follow, and then this goes back to the next little compartment here, and then this is the area where we're going. This is the other wire that actually goes to the lights, and so it just needs to travel back into this back section here. So just following from one section to the next to be able to get this all set up, and then we'll come back and try to zip tie where we can. All right, so now that I have my cable routed up, I can go ahead and reach in here. I can go ahead and
push that little tab down and then grab the wire and pop that loose. I've already pushed the tab, so that's the reason why it popped out so easily. Go ahead and connect the wire. Connect the wire in. So that's going into the, there's the click. And this is the one that goes to the lights, to the other side of the connector. A little hard to see, I know. And then click, and there we go. So, and I'm just going to go ahead and route this, and then zip tie everything away from anything that could be getting hot or anything like that the best I can. All right. Okay, so I highly recommend you make sure that you look at your cable, inspect it one more time before you button everything up. I added a zip tie up on the wire bundle, up on the top here. You see way up there. So that way, make sure that the wire does not sag or fall or have any chance of getting wrapped around the powertrain on this at all. So be very sure that your wire is secure and not going to cause you problems later. And obviously, if you ended up pulling the plate off like I did, don't forget to reassemble it. So. Okay, so now that our wires are ran, go ahead and terminate the wires for power into our fuse block, and it'll go ahead and install a fuse to this. I go ahead and start off for testing. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a 5 amp fuse onto this. Here's the one on the bottom right. All right, so go ahead and we're running a test now. So I just have the key on. So reach over here, and here my switch is in the middle position. So if I hit down for auto backup, the switch illuminates blue, so you can see obviously with the switch location, everything like that. So if I go to my reverse, so it turns on, turns off the lights. So I can go over here, go back to the middle, the light turns off on the switch, and I go to up, and it says rear light mode, so for on, and the lights turn on in the back. So there we go. So if it's in the middle position and go to reverse, the lights do not turn on, but I'm still in the reverse mode. All right, here's some extra information. I got the lights on, having it running through a little meter here. So the rear lights, this is the double rear lights setup. Looks like it consumes roughly 42 watts, about 3.5 amps is the draw. All right, so my apologies for the video being so long, but trying to be as informative as possible, and trying to show all the electrical aspects and the install process and how difficult it is, but trying to help make it as easy as possible for somebody else that's going through this for the first time and everything like that. So if it was helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Check out some of the other videos that are in the playlist that I have shown here, because I have lots of other tutorials and stuff like that. So happy riding.